stood up the street crimes unit. And that's what we're gonna continue to do, is, we don't want violent crime to be on the rise, but we wanna have a force of deputies out here that will meet it head on. I tell you also, like we have, 6 detectives working cases out here in Center Point. Folks, I've got to put first responders on the line. I'm gonna have to have the very best multitaskers I have that can be a detective and that can handle identity theft. And we may not be able to have evidence technicians that can process scenes, but we can have a hybrid of an evidence technician and a crimes against persons detective that can handle everything. That's what we're gonna have to do. All detectives are gonna have to be able to be an evidence technician and a community police officer. You know, what is the long-term effects of that? I can't say for sure, but I'll tell you one thing, I was elected not to give up. And, we have survived this thing. I trust this commission. Times are hard. We need some help from the legislature. And until we get that help with county government, I think our county needs limited home rule to be able to be responsible for raising revenues, and if it's improper, they can be voted out of office. And I think these guys are willing to take that responsibility. But for goodness sakes, to the legislature, if you're not going to give us the taxing authority, then you stand up and you create the revenue that this county needs. If anybody says on the right side, if the Republicans on the right and the Democrats on the left and the Tea Party is right there, if anybody says that this county hasn't gone through being streamlined and pared down, then they need to come walk in my shoes and the other department heads, because I understand if you say, well, no, they're not doing it. Well, I tell you what, there's a bureaucracy to a family. There's a bureaucracy to a church. And there's a bureaucracy to the federal, state, and county government. And I can promise you that this is a county government that's working closer together than it ever has, that are willing to pull the trigger on laying folks off, to pull the trigger on 32 hours, but at the same time, in the back of all elected officials in Jefferson County is to deliver the service come what may. I want you to know that. Deliver the service come what may. And there is a feeling through department heads and through this county is that we're tired of being a laughingstock of other county governments and other governments in this state and nation. We're tired of it. And this is the commission. I don't know if they're going to be back again. I don't know if they want to come back again. Really. But I know they're talking, I know they're acting, and I know they're a tough-minded, practical group. And I'm proud of this commission. I really am. So, like I said, it's going to be hard to predict what comes about at the end of this fiscal year, and like Chief, like we talked about, I don't know whether it's 10 million, 12 million, 8 million. We're going to get the job done. We may have less beats, and we may be Howard, like in the fire service, Donnie. We may be laying a line, driving the truck, and doing everything. But we just don't have as many people, but we're going to get the job done. And I tell you what, I pulled a shift out in Cahaba Heights recently, and you'll see the command staff that putting on a uniform and getting out there working shoulder to shoulder with these guys and girls. At the end of the day, I still believe this formula, and this is what's driving me to be positive and getting the job done. You know, depending on what does public safety mean? I think public safety means that everybody has the right to believe that they're safe. And if there's not the feeling of safety in our community, if you don't feel safe, you know what? You're not going to be building a new school like the new Center Point High School. You're not going to be doing that. You're not going to have a wonderful city government that gives a flip about National Night Out, and the businesses they're going to know that. And they're not going to be business starts here, and there's not going to be housing starts here, and people won't give a flip about the school. But I'm going to tell you, in this community in Center Point, that's what folks care about. And you're growing and building, you have a good revenue stream. Absent, you pull out community, you pull out public safety in any community. Do you think the schools are going to survive? No. You think there's going to be housing starts? No. You think business are going to come? No. So I'm just submitting to you that I believe that the 13 boards of education are doing a great job. I'm asking you as the mayor and the city council to speak to these commissioners and speak to other folks and put a value on what the sheriff's office does to this community. And if you'll do that, then I'll be forever indebted to you and these deputies. But come what may, these guys in brown with the stars are going to get the job done, I think. And I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
I have a comment and then a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'm going to rant just a little bit because our schools have been in proration for the last several years. We had major cuts to the sheriff's department in Jefferson County, and then we recently have had an immigration bill passed by the state legislature where they dumped all of the responsibility for looking at the students in the schools who have already been cut to the bone, and the sheriff's department to enforce it.
Under penalty, under misdemeanor,
So,
yeah.
Here and then they have refused to pass the limited home road bill. Is there, any future to that?
Well, I don't think so. I and some other sheriffs have met with the United States Attorney and I forget his name, but he is the United States Assistant Attorney General. I think you're gonna, I can't speak for the Justice Department, but I think you're gonna see justice that will come out and they will do what they did in Utah, what they've done or what they're going to do in Georgia and in Arizona. Look, how this thing nets down here is, let's just take a domestic violence call and what the responsibilities are. Sure, they took care of the victim. You know, we go out to, if you're a victim of domestic violence, we don't have to ask and we don't have to inquire if you're an illegal immigrant to this. But guess what? The people that called in, the people as witnesses, we're required under this bill, under this law, to inquire as to their immigration status. Now, how much crime do you think is really going to get reported on that? And I've got a jail that is 200 beds overcrowded. Where am I going to put them? I'm asking you, where am I going to put them? Or do we say, well, let's clear the jail out, and those that are convicted of thefts and minor drugs, look at what you just done to the community. I think the Justice Department is going to file suit. I think it's going to be clarified. I think the amendments to the law, is my belief, they're going to be struck down. It's going to be cleaned up the best it can. I don't think it's going to survive in its present stage. I really don't.
And what about the home rule issue? Is that something that's still being discussed?
Well, the home rule issue is something that like I said, we have a county commission, and I've heard more than one of them say that they are willing to make the tough call to vote on something that will make us basically revenue neutral. In other words, we have these expenses, here's what we pare it down to, here's what the revenue will be. Make us neutral, make us balanced. And I think this group is willing, if they get defeated because they, quote, raise taxes, this group is willing to take the responsibility for that. Absent that, then I'm looking to our local legislators, Arthur Payne, Beeson, Alan Farley, all our representatives. If you don't give it to them, then you take responsibility in a special session, and let's just balance the books. Don't point the finger and say, well, they're hiding money. I tell you what, you have the Office of Public Examiners that work for the legislature, that's a creature of the legislature. Get the Office of Public Examiners in here to find the hidden money. And when you find out the money's not there, then what you do is you balance the books, because this group has already taken it down. That's what I think. We got to look to the legislature to fix it in a special session. But Chief Deputy and I are working right now. I will not stick my head in the sand and say, well, maybe they can fix it. Quite frankly, I'm looking at them not to fix it, and we've got plan A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4 that we're going to crank into place. We just got to. Thanks for that question. Don't you like? Stand up, Randy. Don't you think he's going to look good in uniform?